Scott Zolak, who is a Patriots color analyst, former QB, and host of Zolak and Bertrand on 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston, who we listened into yesterday, is going to join us right now and tell us what it was like. Scott, thanks for being on Tiki and Tierney. What was it like up there for you guys?
I've been beating this thing like a dead horse for about 8 months. It's 4 hours a day. It's constant. It's loaded phone line. And if you follow me or you ever hear me, you know who I sided with on this. I mean, I made a living in this league for 10 years, and as the backup, you prepare footballs and you do everything you can to get those balls game ready. You beat them. I never stuck a gauge in. I didn't know about PSI until January, so I had a little more inclination as to what actually didn't go on, within those locker rooms. I felt bad for Tom, the person, and Tiki, you're one of the true ambassadors of the league, and you know how you have to conduct yourself. You look at the way your brother has acted through all his, great years. Tom's one of the cornerstones of this league to me. It's what the league is built on, and the National Football League. It's quite embarrassing with this commissioner and what he's attempted to do, and they fired first shots. I mean, they went to New York federal district court, and they fired first, and they beat the NFLPA to filing.
Yeah.
And it's New England's excited. That's the obvious thing because we wanted it to be zero, but the way this league works and the amount of money and the power, sometimes you just think, boy, and you hear the rumors Brady's opening up to giving a game. But then you hear, it's down to 3, but he's got to sign off on that awful Wells report and accept guilt. And he's like, well, I'm in 8 months of telling you I didn't do anything. So why all of a sudden in the final 2 weeks should I cave? But sometimes that's what deadlines do. You see it with contracts. Guys say, well, I'm not signing back for that. But they end up doing it.
Yeah.
I think deadlines force the issue.
Yeah, of course it does. I'm interested in this competitive balance or integrity of the game argument that keeps getting thrown out there. Now, let's say, for instance, I like my footballs overinflated because, say, my hands are huge. You prefer them underinflated because your hands may be a little bit smaller. So if there's manipulation of a football one way or another, how is that a competitive an imbalance? You know what I mean? It's more like a preference as opposed to something that's putting the other team at a disadvantage. It's like wearing long cleats or short cleats.
Yeah, and I don't think I've heard receivers talk about it. They don't say, "Hey, I'd prefer to catch a underinflated ball or an overinflated ball." When I played, I had big hands. I liked them overinflated because I thought it just cut the wind better. On windy days up here in the Northeast, guys wear tack-ified gloves and. Hey, the tack-ified gloves have changed since when you and I played.
Oh, man, it's ridiculous
pretty
now.
Darn special when you played. But now it's like you can't even put your fingers together on your hand because you can't separate the fingers. That's how tack-ified they are. That's a competitive advantage for me.
Yeah.
I mean, Peyton Manning, the first 12 years of his career never played with gloves. Now he plays with them.
Yeah.
Why does he do that?
Yeah, you're right.
A competitive advantage.
You're right. You try to do that. That's just the nature of sport, whether it's a baseball pitcher, one of the greats, a Hall of Famer, scuffing a ball up a little bit or whatever it may be. Scott Zolak here joining us on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Scott, the Patriot way is to say nothing, play it close to the vest, find a way to edge that competitiveness in a game or in a season. How do they escape this perceptually nationally? How do they move past this, or do they not care?
No, they care. I mean, it is the brand, and there is a level of consistency. I mean, they've averaged 12 wins over the last, 18 years. It's pretty impressive what they've been able to do. But you do that with consistency, I think, in all the right places. I think there's 3 things for the model. Great ownership, which they have here, fantastic head coach, which they have here, and a lights-out quarterback, which they have here. And, that's been the model. And they've tweaked it, and they keep things in-house. What you say here, what you hear here stays here. When you start talking about the outside, it becomes, that distraction. I mean, Aaron Hernandez was not that long ago. I mean, we're talking 2-3 years ago where you got a guy that got convicted of a murder. He's going to be on trial for another double murder. And they went on, and he was going to be the main focal point of that offense 2 years ago. And they tweaked things, went on, and ended up going to the AFC Championship game that year. We went to Denver and lost, and then they ended up winning the Super Bowl the next year. They have ways to get past things, and they know how to do it.
Yeah, they definitely do. Scott Zolak up in Boston. But, Scott, how does Coach Belichick escape any scrutiny during this? Because that's really one of the more Um, interesting things about this whole saga is that Coach Belichick really wasn't involved.
Yeah, you're saying like more surprising, right? I
Yes,
mean,
exactly. That's a better word.
I played for the guy. I've been around him. He's so detail oriented. The attention to detail, the crossing the T's, the dotting in the I's on everything. But I do remember, in our playing days here with under Bill Parcells and then Bill, when we would have nice weather out, there'd be times they would pull footballs out of soaking buckets of water, or they would come over and squirt water on the ball, or throw dirt on it, or give you a crappy kicking ball just to make you adjust the elements and do things in case conditions change. And they would be two of the last people that I would really think that, boy, hey, we better double check the PSI of those footballs before we put those 12 approved footballs out there. Bill's going over, 3-4 fronts, rotations, all that, up to the last minute details. The Polaroid pictures that they now use on the Microsoft Surface is awesome. I would think, and I'm not surprised by it, but how he came out flying on it, like, the last concern for me is the pound PSI in a football.
Yeah, and again, like you said, I didn't realize the rule until this happened back in
Correct.
January of this year at the AFC Championship game. Last question here for you, Scott. Tom Brady's legacy. We know what it's going to be in
Right.
Boston. How's it going to change? One, as a player, and then two, more importantly, you realize this because you're a former player like me, in player relationships with the league and the commissioner.
I think he'll be fine within the league. I think Tom, being around him for 16 years and watching how he works, traveling with the team, watching people react to him when he enters the room, the way he commands a room. And I grew up around Joe Montana. My dad was Joe's high school coach, and we were with Joe in the early days and following him around. It's kind of that same presence. Joe was 4-0 in Super Bowls, and people are going to remember the two that they lost, but Tom had them up in the final 2 minutes of both of those. You just got to go out and take care of his business. It's all he can do. You can't worry about things you can't control. Commissioner, that's another story. It's going to be interesting to see if, after '07 and Spygate, they went out and they woodshedded people. I mean, it was pedal to the metal, no looking in the rearview mirror, and things didn't go the way they wanted to in that Super Bowl, but they had a chance at that undefeated year. It kind of has that feeling now. When you question the way they handle things or you call them cheaters, they want to prove you the otherwise. So if he goes out and say we win it again, Super Bowl 50 in San Francisco, he gets the MVP. It's going to be an interesting day after game breakfast there when he's handed the MVP
Yeah,
trophy.
right. Are you
I
predicting?
just wonder if the commissioner's got the stones to do it.
Yeah, well, he's not showing up on opening day, so we know that kind of he doesn't. Are you predicting 16-0 again? Did I just hear that?
No, God, no. It's so it's hard to go 13-3. I'll take a 12-4 record right now. I'll sign off on that.
I feel
That
you
at
on
least
that one.
means you're in the divisional round.
I feel that one. Scott, I appreciate you joining me. And good luck with the rest of this offseason, which is really at an end now, and good luck when the regular
Yeah.
season starts.
Hey, Tiki, I always appreciate it, man. Great talking to you. I've been a big fan of your brothers for a long time. I'll see you, pal.